More and more people are getting AI intolerant these days, and for a good reason. When it was introduced, it was presented as cruelty-free. I don't know about that anymore. They said that it's gonna do the dishes for us, while we will have more free time to focus on doing art. Ironically, over the years, I think it was genetically modified, because now we are doing the dishes, and soon enough, not even that. While AI is doing the art, and soon enough, why not? Let's go for leadership. There are those people who have a huge interest to make AI big, and usually they also have the digits. You cannot argue with that. They use them as a training tool to attract all sorts of fetch people who deliberately chase these digits at whatever cost, even by using AI like crazy. After getting their paws on the bait, the fetch people are really proud to show you their multiple zeros in their bank account, ultimately becoming one with the zero. And still is their choice, you cannot argue with that. At least you, the listener, you can make a difference. But I'm not here to talk about that. I want to tell you that there is another type of technology which doesn't include wire and chips, and it's natural. It comes from knowing the geometry of this universe. What a gorgeous day. And yeah, that's a block ship. A reminder of the order given by Winston Churchill to create a barrier in order to prevent the German submarine access into the area after losing the war battleship HMS Royal Oak, anchored in the Scapa Bay in 1939. But again, what a gorgeous day. It's not easy to get this type of weather in these islands. Strong winds and storms. This is what you usually get here. Did I tell you that more and more people are becoming weather intolerant? And for a good reason. We once knew that only God can change the weather. I don't know about that anymore. I won't talk about the artificial way. That natural technology that I mentioned previously has a lot to do with us. If we channel our common intention upon something, and if we can make it strong enough, we can influence this reality. Like changing the weather. Do you remember those movies in which some people were dancing in a certain way for calling down the rain? Are they just fantasy? What do you think?
3,000 years before the birth of Christ.
5,000 years before us, and still they don't look that primitive to me, to be honest. I tend not to believe that humanity had a linear evolution, coming from something almost like animals type of beings to what we are now. It feels to me that humans had many peaks of evolution, after which they got dissolved for not finding the right way back to infinite. Probably many times we got close to something familiar, something real, something divine. after which we fell for the tricks of some sort of evil consciousness, if I can call it this way, which tested our integrity. It came in front of us showing good intentions, but we couldn't understand with our weak minds the long-term danger which was hidden behind. That's why I truly think that the people who lived here knew a lot about life, the true life. And I strongly believe that their lifestyle was centered around the idea of understanding more about who they were, from where they came. They had a lot of raw knowledge about lunar and solar cycles. They were aiming to experience the divine through practices and not just understanding it mentally. And you might see me in these clips taking a break and resting somewhere. I'm not doing it necessarily for editing purposes. It's just that this earth is a really beautiful place. And these days, with this wire and chips technology, we don't have time anymore to feel the place, to connect with it. We do the search online about the place, then we get there. We get excited to take the shots, and after that, we leave. Stay a little longer there, take your shots, like I'm also doing, but then just stay and feel. Close your eyes if it helps. This beautiful earth wants you to connect with her. That's why I don't want you to know the place just by history numbers, geographic components. I want you to learn the feeling of connection. Just like now, feel how we, the humanity, we would live freely, with no worries, on this beautiful earth. No jobs, just voluntary work, with the purpose of raising human consciousness. Don't you feel something real in these words? Don't you feel that we are designed for this type of life, exploring the wonders of our eternal existence, to unite with each other, to celebrate the gift of being alive? Because I believe that life here was designed in this way. Knowing that each one of us is an expression of God, and that we are not less than anyone else. Maybe just the level of awareness is different, But that is not an issue. It can be fixed by living, experiencing this world, the way the Creator intended things to be. Follow your inner path, and that is enough to show you places and to teach you valuable lessons. The Standing Stones of Stenness, an impressive Neolithic monument. According to many, it might be the oldest henge site in the British Isles. Not all the stones survived, thus some are missing. What's real remarkable about these stones is the precision with which they were erected. Here comes the technology that I was talking about earlier. Each stone was precisely erected in a specific angle to match a precise frequency of that time for energy gather or to be used as lunar or solar conservatories according to controversial theories. But there were no wires and no chips, and it was more powerful than anything you could imagine. Some say that they were placed there by giants. Real or not, I don't know. We need to learn again how to access this free energy around us without radiation devices. We are the technology, so the Earth. I think that this is the period in which we start to remember things that we used to know. That's why after so long, these monuments get a lot of interest. It's also true that the Outlander series plays a big role here. Some say that these chambered cairns that you are about to see soon were just some burial places. What's interesting is that similar to the pyramids of Egypt, they served another purpose. In order to access the chamber, you need to make your way in through a long and narrow passageway. The passage of the European mounts, because there are many more, were usually aligned to the sun at the solstice or equinox. The initiate of the British Isles was directed in their spiritual rebirth towards their father sun. In Egypt, these pyramidal tombs were said to send the deceased through the portal to heaven. It seems likely that the burial mounds of Europe to serve the same purpose. They could have been used as a portal to a higher dimension of reality in an out-of-body experience, helped a lot by the acoustic properties of these chambers. Because we didn't want to disturb the energy of the place, we didn't use that much light, as you can see in the video. As you make your way out through the dark tunnel into the light, You can feel a similarity with the near-death experiences stories that you might have heard. These mounds could have been built for the purpose of emulating the tunnel, the portal to heaven. That's why I don't believe that 3,000 years before Christ, people were hitting each other with sticks. But I do believe that without a new, fresh and real mentality brought by wonderful beings like Jesus and other prophets throughout history, we would have had fallen under the trap of following the narrative of something which it would have brought us to another self-destruction point in history. But make no mistakes that all these prophets told us that the key is within us and that each one of us has to access it individually and not by following just one guy, because the worship itself can become a trap. It doesn't matter who is the one worshipped. A true master wants people to learn how to become better than him. He doesn't mind that because he learned to overcome his ego. He doesn't want people to remain followers for decades or centuries, to keep them in a state of dependency. It's like a big brother who wants his little brother to learn how to handle life by himself. This is true teaching, in my opinion. Ancient portal sites, stargates, they are not a myth anymore. Many stone circles, like this one, have an extraordinary precise solar alignment. That's why it is likely that the ring of Brodgar might have been used in the past for traveling in an out-of-body experience to other dimensions. A gate like this one might have had the ability to facilitate movement in both directions, not only for people to reach higher dimensions, but also higher beings to come down here. It is believed that these sites are not functional anymore, but the technology behind them intrigues us even today. The idea of understanding what we are from where we came seems that it was all the time a priority for these ancient civilizations, and not that much now. That's why, if a society is not focused on the idea of understanding the mysteries of life, me personally, I cannot call it evolved. Especially if everyone is treated like an asset in this cold economy, with no feelings. We are more powerful than we can imagine. How much those people knew back then. And if you made it this far, I embrace you.